Good evening, everybody. We welcome you to Golden Kilfeacle GAA grounds, and here this evening we're going to preview the Munster Senior Hurling Championship match between Cork and Limerick. The game is taking place 7 p.m. next Saturday evening. I'm speaking with John O'Shea, but first of all, John, we're having a look back at last weekend.
Yes, Stevie, I suppose Welsh Park last Saturday evening there. But when we think about it, was a game that we were hoping a performance from Tip like it, to try and get their season back on the horse, as the fella says. And I suppose by and large, it was a good display, it was an honest display, it was a courageous display. Now, we didn't win the game, but we certainly didn't lose it. And, coming into injury time, we're 4 points down, and we showed a great bit of resolve to get the goal and then the equalising point, And I suppose it's like everything. If you're in touch, or you're within touch and distance, and you're performing well, there's always a hope,
John, why is it they couldn't do it against Limerick?
Look, I suppose that's the conundrum, and I don't know if Cahill got the answers to that either. I certainly don't have them.
Maybe it's because Limerick were so physically stronger than them, and that kind of strength can often sap the energy out of the opposition with hard hits.
It can, but I suppose against Limerick, as we spoke, we were there for the first 20 minutes, all right, and just things didn't work and didn't happen. But there was a totally different mindset to the lads, and you could see it early on. We conceded a penalty there after 2 or 3 minutes. All of a sudden, we were a goal down. Then we're 4 points down. And then we came back into the game again gradually. The heads didn't drop. We challenged for every ball. Now, we made mistakes. Waterford made mistakes. But I suppose there was a great atmosphere there. I know there was only little under 12,000 there, because that's the capacity. But we weathered a couple of storms early on there. There's a bit of controversy with the ref, and that was the talking point during the week, and that shouldn't be. James Owen seems to be the man that they're all talking about for all the wrong reasons. And okay, the penalty was given, but it was his positioning for the penalty, and then he crossed in front of Barry Hogan there as the penalty was being taken. So there's a question over that. Why the need for him to move across? Then I suppose the second one, then there was a third man tackle in the lead up to the second goal for Waterford. Now he missed that. The goal was given, and his attention was drawn to the incident by the linesman. But unfortunately, the rules doesn't allow for the goal to be cancelled, and that was it. So he yellow carded the Limerick defender. So that's he had made a decision on that one. So anyway, we went in at half time. What was it? 2 points down. 2-8 to 12 points. Came out in the second half. Rallied away there. I think we went, a point or two clear, 2 points clear, and then we got a sucker punch there. That goal from the free from Waterford. That was probably lack of concentration by the defenders, and it was quick thinking by Desi Hutchinson. Tapped the ball across to Jack Prendergast, I think it was, and back in the net. So all of a sudden, the good work there that we had done was sort of erased again. But nevertheless, the heads didn't drop, and that's what I liked about last week. And eventually, we know what happened then. Coming down the home straight there, 4 points down, coming into injury, 4 minutes up on the clock. Goal from young Kennelly there. He had come in before that. He had got a point.
Sean Kennelly, good player, isn't he?
And okay, there's a question mark when you look back on the replays over. We maybe had a little rub of the green on that one. I think he was probably inside the square before the ball entered the square. But look, it was marginal, and I suppose if you see
But that's history now.
That's history, and you get that in matches, and there's no point. I suppose overall the thing balanced out. There was a high challenge there by Van O'Maher on a Limerick defender. It went unpunished. So look, you have to take, the game is over 74, 75, 76 minutes now, and you have to balance it out.
Yeah.
But Alan Tynan worked for that free for the equalising point, which Garrod O'Connor thing. So we came out of it there with a point. Now,
were you happy with that point?
I was happy. Well, I certainly was happy because 4 minutes before that,
and 3 or 4 points down.
we were 4 points down, like, But I suppose it was as much, there's no more than what Tip deserved. The reality of it now, we're halfway through the Munster Championship, and Limerick have 2 points from 4. Waterford are in second place. They have 3 points out of 4. Clare have 2 points.
So they're in the driving seat now, Limerick.
Limerick are driving, but you see, Stevie, it's still only the halfway stage. There are still points to be won and lost in this championship.
None more so than this coming weekend.
Correct. Now we have Cork pointless after 2 games. Now 2 games where they scored 125 in their opening game against Waterford and were beaten by 3 points, 225 to 125. In round 2, in their second game against Clare, they were beaten by 2 points, 326 to 324. There's a lot of games in the Munster Championship you score 324, Stevie, and you'll win, or even score 125. So look at Cork are coming up against Limerick now. Limerick can cement their place in the Munster final. They have, you could say 1 leg almost in it. Cork are pointless. A defeat for Cork in Páirc Uí Chaoimh in their home ground before their home fans on Saturday evening, and their season is over. And they'll have failed to come out of Munster for 2 years on the trot. Now, that's not a situation that Cork wants to be in. It's not a situation that their supporters would countenance. So I think, the Munster Championship is really starting out next Sunday evening or Saturday evening in Cork. And I wouldn't be surprised, Stevie, when you'd weigh it all up, that Cork will really, they'll have to shove it up to Limerick. Now, we know what
they can turn them over?
We know what happened to them last year, Stevie, in that famous last game when there was, it was the point in it in the finish, a drawn game for Cork, and there was a different scenario altogether in Munster. Look, I think they have nothing to lose. They're going to have a right cut. It's still in their own hands. Qualification is still in Cork's own hands, I think, because there are 4 points still to be had. And you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if Cork turned over Limerick on Saturday evening. See, they have to die with their boots on if they don't.
Limerick are going to be very, very difficult to beat themselves on any given day. But in the third game for them, they have 2 victories, but in the third game for them, well, it's not going to be easy for Cork. I think that this is a Limerick team. They're out to prove a point. They're going for the drive for 5.
Oh, they are, of course, and I think is it 6 Munsters on the trot, which was never done either. So I mean, this Limerick team are on the verge of history in the GA within the hurling world. It was in their cusp. Now they have, which we saw, they have, a good backup situation. Now the Peter Casey thing, that was probably...
That's totally misfortunate.
That was totally misfortunate. It will be, at the back of their minds, it might be an incentive for them to drive on as well. Not that they need much of an incentive.
Yeah, I think, John, we mentioned it on Tip Midwest Radio, and we did say that this is something that could possibly drive them on.
It could, and cement them and bond them together. We know more or less the 19/20 that Kylie relies on. We know the time they come in, the subs. Now, what sort of a team he will start is another thing on Saturday evening. But he'll have the core of the same team, because he's not a fella that experiments much now. You see, I suppose, if he got the 2 points in the bag, that'd be 6 points. Maybe in the final game, it might be a chance for him to give, these, I suppose, call them fringe players, but they're coming on and they're doing the job, maybe give them a start. But I don't think he'll do that on Saturday evening.
Normally when John Kiley picks a team, that's the team that plays.
It is, yeah. There's always a few little positional changes, like, David Reedy going back into corner forward and Lynch coming out and stuff like that. But that's only just moving, the personnel around the field, and that happens.
Just positional changes.
Positional changes, but the basic numbers of the 15 that he names on whenever it will be on Thursday night, probably, or certainly on Friday morning, will be the core, I'd say, that we have come to expect from Limerick.
Now, the one thing is, Limerick don't fear travelling to Cork. Maybe years ago they would have, but that's completely different nowadays.
It is, and I think there's this perception now. You see, Cork is a great stadium, it's a great grounds. Nobody minds travelling to Cork anymore, I think. Let's be honest about it. No more than Cork doesn't mind travelling to Limerick, or certainly don't mind travelling to Thurles and stuff like that. I think there's an awful lot of stuff, an awful lot of too much emphasis on the venue, and I mean a venue never beat anybody.
Yeah, there was always two things really: the venue and the referee. I would never look at these before a game or anything like that. You're still going out playing the opposition. It's a game that you need to be focused on.
Yeah, you have no control over the referee of what he does. You have no control over the venue, but you have control over your own performance to a certain extent, and how you line yourself up for a performance.
So, John, what do Cork have to do to overturn the champions?
Look, first of all, they had a shaky in the 2 games so far, discipline. They had a man double yellow the last day. The previous round double yellow plus a black card, so they were down to 13 for 7 or 8 minutes against Waterford. They were down to 14 the last day against Clare. They're going to have to perform as well as they did against Clare, and I think that they weren't too bad, Stevie, against Clare. The performance wasn't too bad. The defending at times was a bit naive, I suppose. They had tightened up a bit, but on their first outing, it will be interesting now to see what sort of a line-up will he go for.
But isn't that a strange one, John? Very seldom you see the top teams in the country, the traditional teams, the Cork, Kilkennys and Galways and Limericks and Tipperaries and Hurling, if you want to put it that way. It's very unusual to see halfway through the championship they still don't have a settled 15.
It is, yes, and especially like Cork doesn't have a settled full back line. There was two guys in the back line the last day, 2 changes in the full back line from the Waterford game, and one of those again gets sent off. There was a change in the half back line, and I think there were 6 changes in all from the Waterford game to the Clare game now. So that's 21 players have started the championship for Cork. Now, if he doesn't get out of that 21 as starting, I can't see any more changes because you just don't have them. Now, they're going to have to definitely. They took their scores the last day. Now, they're still depending a lot on Patrick Horgan. Now, they probably were better the last day against Clare because, they were notching up the scores, and, Clare sort of were seeding, I suppose, from that first game against Limerick. So, tis very hard to know or to judge it, but the bottom line is Cork, you see, have been beaten on the 2 games, as I said, against Waterford and against Clare by 3 points and 2 points.
Do you think that will have an effect on their...
Well, I think, they know a little bit of tightening up at the back will, give them, I think, a bit of confidence, a bit of a boost. Now, I think, I really and truly think that Saturday is the day. If Cork ever wanted to do it, they have to do it on Saturday, because if they don't, Stevie, they're gone. Good luck. Out of Munster, out of the All-Ireland. And we know they haven't won an All-Ireland since when? 2004. 4, yeah. That's hitting on 20 years now, like.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
2005 was their last. They won 2 in a row, 2004 and 2005. It's now 19 years.
19 years, yeah.
Heading for 20 years. And that's, to me, very, very strange in Cork hurling.
It is, of course, and there's no doubt about it. Like, and it's something that you couldn't countenance back in 2005, as you said, after winning 2 in a row. And there we are. And, but I suppose when they're down, and they are down, and they didn't qualify last year, I keep repeating that, But I think there's a little bit more in them this year, even though that they have been beaten in those 2 games, Stevie. Now, they definitely the last day was a big pick-up from it. Now, they will have to pick it again on Saturday if they are to overthrow Limerick. Now, and I wouldn't be surprised. It's very hard to go against Limerick, but I think if Cork are to ever do anything to pick themselves up, they've got to do it in Páirc Uí Chaoimh on Saturday evening, Stevie.
Yeah, there could be a lot of pressure there with the home crowd as well. I know they will have a good crowd there, but you must also take into consideration that John Kiley do not like losing games.
That's for sure. That's for sure. Nobody likes losing games, but Kiley, especially in this sort of sequence since 2017 when he took over there, he's not a guy that he's a great analyst of the backroom team, and all the minute details are gone into. Now he knows damn well if he comes out of Cork with 2 points on Saturday evening, there's 2 things: Cork are gone, and Limerick are definitely in a Munster final. And he has a game left to go. Unlike last year, Stevie, when he came to the last game,
they had to battle their way.
They had to battle it right up to injury time. And he didn't like to be in that position. No team likes to be in that position. Now, they drew it in round 3 last year. That was with Tip. Drew it round, and I suppose... But they seem to be in a better frame of mind this year. But of course, the sequence of matches again, Stevie, I think it has a bearing on it. And like this, the result of Saturday evening's game, I think, will have a knock-on effect the following week when Cork comes to Thurles on against Tip in Cork's final game. So that's a huge thing as well. So I don't know. I think it's going to be hugely interesting, and there's going to be a full house in Páirc Uí Chaoimh. And I suppose the sad thing about it is, Stevie, and we have to get back to it, is that it's not shown on our national TV. Probably, it could be the game that kicks back, give it a kickstart back to Cork's season. It could be the game that puts them out of the championship. There's a huge interest on this. And Cork public, they'll have to be, they have to say, well, what the hell is going on, because 3 of their games is behind paywalls. You know what I mean? And there's something terribly really wrong about it.
Yeah, this game is going out live on GAA Go on this coming Saturday night, and my own personal opinion is I think it's a crying shame it's not shown on national television here in Ireland, as in RTE.
It is, and you have RTE. There's 2 there's 2 provincial finals on the weekend. There's the Ulster
football final, Armagh and Donegal.
Yeah, and
then you have the
Leinster.
Dublin and Louth Leinster senior football final.
Now the footballers are entitled to their provincial finals, the very same as the Munster and Leinster hurling provincial finals will be on. But what is to prevent RTE2 from screening that game? We have 2 channels in RTE. What is to prevent them from doing it? And the people who want to see Cork and Limerick don't mind forfeiting watching Louth and Dublin, or the Ulster final for that matter. So
John, Cork or Limerick?
I'll be the devil's advocate there, and I think I'll go for Cork by the narrowest of margins.
You used the word think.
Yes.
Why?
I just have that little feeling about him. Cork are Cork, Stevie, and they're a proud county, no more than Tipperary are.
You're expecting a huge bite from that dog.
I am, and down in Páirc Uí Chaoimh, that is the place to, put one over on the Munster and All-Ireland champions and, slow down their advancement.
John O'Shea, you're coming to us from Golden Kilfeacle GAA grounds, previewing the Munster Senior Hurling Championship match. Cork and Limerick, thank you very much.